Hey everyone, hope you are enjoying our previous classes. So today we are going to learn about technique for advanced prompting, role specific prompt, zero sorting learning and few sort learning. So stay connected and enjoy the session.
So when we are understand the prompts are there, what are the uses of the prompt? Why prompt is so popular in 2024? Because the prompts can do sentiment analysis, language translation, it can answer your questions, it can summarize your text, it can generate the codes, it can respond to the questions of any user. So chatbot responses are there. It can classify the huge amount of the document. It can generate, capture, and regenerate the images. Okay. And finally, it can recognize the entity, and based on that recognition, it can resolve the issues. So that's how prompt is very popular. Now, to do all these cases, we need to know how to do the prompting. Now, when I am saying prompting, okay, it looks very simple, but if you have the knowledge on all these segments, you can see these 10 areas, you will be a good prompt engineer. By grouping all these areas, your prompting will be more clean and accurate. So what are the area? First is phonetics, the study of how to speech sounds and produce and perceived. Okay. So that is one of the understanding, because this phonetics, how to write, how to speak, and how it should be captured by the GPT, that is important. Otherwise, it can pick wrong information from your input. Phonology, the study of sound patterns and changes. Like in each country, they speak in a different manner of phonology, right? So like in English language, we have helping verbs like is, are, okay, do, does. Now, sometimes it doesn't have any meaning, but it keep a strength to your instructions. So now you understand that pattern, which are useful, which are not useful. Morphology, the study of word structure, how the sentence is built, how the structure of the words is used, give the instructions. Syntax, the study of sentence structure. Semantics, the meaning of the linguistic, like if you put a comma, if you put a semicolon or colon, what should be the meaning? Pragmatics, the study of how language is used in context, different areas, like in our language, we have different words for superiors, we have different words for juniors, we have different words for friends, right? Now, those stuff you need to understand. Pragmatism, then historical of a language. From there, you understand what are the influences on that language. So from there, you can understand, okay, this is coming from this root. So we have to use this particular word to identify the particular language. Um, Socio-linguistic, which is study of between the language and culture, from which culture it is coming, and the relationship between that. Computational. Computational is like study of computers can process the human language. So that is another important, how your language is perceived by the model or by the computer. And finally, physiolo-linguistic or psycholinguistic, you can say, the study of how humans acquire and use the language. So if you have all this knowledge, it is easier to be a good prompt engineer. Now, when we are giving the prompt, we mostly do these 10 tasks by doing the prompt. Okay, what are those tasks? We can give the text to text. That means we are asking some question, it will give the answer in text. If we are asking some questions and it is giving in image, we call that text to image. If we give image and we are asking the text as output, that is image to text. If we give image and asking to convert into 3D models, we call that image to 3D. Then image to video. So you give multiple pictures and ask them, okay, can you convert into video? It will convert. Then text to audio. Ask the instruction, ask to generate some music. Text to code. You ask them the code and they generate the code for you. Text to code. Image to science. Now you are giving some image, natural image or something, and you ask what is the logic, what is the science, what is the knowledge behind that. That is called image to science. Then text to video. Give the text, ask to generate the video. Then audio to text. Give some instruction by voice and it will give you the text. So all these 10 type of generative AI input and output model have different products. You can see GPT, Brad, Llama, Plum, and many more are there for your text to text. Similarly, text to image, Midjourney, Dell E3, Stable, News. Okay, all these are there. So when you are going to generate some output based on your prompt, you have to understand which kind of output you are looking for. Once you fixed your output, so input and output you fixed. Okay, I'm going to give text and I'm targeting to get the code. So you have to fix that. And once you fix that, you have to get the model, which model is best, because for each kind of input output model, there are multiple models. Okay, so whatever is the efficient one, you go with that, or whatever is the best fit for your um, prompting or your output, pick that one. Okay, that is the first step in prompting. Okay, till now we understand prompting. Now we'll go advanced prompting. So advanced prompting involves using more sophisticated techniques to elicit specific high quality responses from an AI system. This can be specifically useful for complex tasks, creative endeavors, or when seeking details and nuances of informations. Okay, so if you give correct prompt, the whole world will come out from your system, from your generative AI system. You need not to do anything. Just you need to give correct instruction. So how to give those correct informations or instructions, we call that advanced prompting. Now in advanced prompting, we have different type of techniques. There are more than 10 techniques. We'll discuss about 10 techniques which are used in advanced prompting. The first technique we call the role specific prompt. So in that, again, there are two parts. One is expert persona who knows everything, what exactly is working, and second is role playing. Okay, so let's consider the expert persona where you are the expert, like you are a very expert software developer and you want to optimize something, some database or something. You know about the database, you know the data, everything you know, you just give the instructions. Okay, now based on your prompt, the model will give you some out. Let's you are an expert in some area, but you need some specific instructions, like you need a consultant. So ask the model that behave like a consultant, and based on your question, it will answer like a consultant, or behave like a nutrition, or behave like a physician or doctor. Then it will behave like that, and based on that, you can ask questions and it will give you the answer. Okay, this is number one, role specific prompts. We'll go in details when we'll go further slides. Chain of thought prompting. So it is encouraging the AI to explain the reasoning step by step. Each time it will divide the task. Okay, like example, explain the process of natural selection step by step, as if teaching a high school biology classes. So like in biology classes, we divide the whole what we call the lives. So we divide into biology divided into botany and zoology, and zoology divided into different classifications. Botany is divided into different classification. So that's how the chain of thoughts come. We divide everything in step by step manner, give the example and get the output. Okay. The third method is called the few sort. So whatever the data examples to guide to respond the AI, you have to give some examples. Whatever the minimal examples we have, we give that, and based on that, this sorting happen, and they summarize everything, all articles. So there is another concept called zero sorting as well. Okay. So zero sorting also, we trained the model so accurately that within a single instruction, it will give you the multi-turn dialogues. So it need multiple dialogues. Like you have to give some instruction. In this example, you can see. So first question, what are the main causes of global warming? Okay, then you ask again follow-up question. So the answer you get because of the greenhouse mm, gases. Then you can ask follow-up question, how do greenhouse gases contribute to global warming? Okay. So you can understand there are very chemical stuff or the gases which are harmful for human beings, or we cannot stop the radiation. So those are greenhouse gases. And then you can ask how we can reduce that. So all this process is multi-turn dialogues. Multiple times you are asking and getting the output. Okay, finally you are asking what is the carbon footprint of each country? What are their contribution? Conditional prompts. What are the conditional prompts? You put, like we already asked, what are the most popular languages in 2024? So we put a year, or you can see should be the workout routine for 30 minutes every day. It will give a answer. We put a condition. Okay. So that means if but all these things are there, so we call that conditional prompting. Then there is another very popular one. It is mostly used in the research areas, in areas which is not existing. Like in our science, we say hypothetically. So similarly in Gen AI, we say hypothetical scenarios. We have to give some hypothetical scenarios which are not exist. And based on that, it will create a scenario and give you the details. Like if I ask, okay, AI, tell me what should be the world after 50 years? We don't know what should be, but it can imagine and give you some output. Let's see what it will give the output. Can you tell how will it will hurt? Now here it is giving you all the conditions. What should be the climate condition, technological advancement, biodiversity, okay, urbanization, demographic shift. So that means the GPT can imagine based on its current data and give you some output. Then contextual prompting, as I mentioned, it is based on a particular area or domain. Based on that, we can get the outputs. And like if somebody is a doctor, in medical also there are different areas. A particular person is good in child care, so he's a child care doctor. Somebody is good in medicines, he's a medicine specialist. So based on your context, your domain, you can ask them questions, and based on that, they can give you the answer. Okay. Formatting constraint. So if you ask some specific questions, like I gave one example, give me the codes in C. So that is your formatting. You're asking to get the output in a particular format. Comparative analysis, it is mostly used in economics, governments, policymakers. They compare different data and their quality and their responses. So that is comparative analysis. Then simulation and role playing. You have to ask the prompt, like, this is the simulation we are getting. What would be your simulation? Like when you are playing any game, or like, uh, I can give you the example, you are not a doctor at a baby level, like when you are a kid, but you play the role of a doctor. You are checking the people, and the teacher is saying that, okay, you should do like this, like that. So from there, you are learning. So simulation is kind of a very similar to that. You can ask or give some instructions, ask them, become a advisor or become a doctor. and they do that role playing. And based on the role playing, you behave that, okay, let's consider a scenario where I fall in sick, I have these symptoms, give the answer. Simulation and role playing. All these 10 techniques are used in different areas. So let's go one by one. And based on that, we can understand how the prompt engineering is used. First started with role specific prompts. Okay, so in short form, we call it is RSP. The role specific prompts are tailored instruction or questions, you can say, engage in a large language model. Okay, in future, I can say LLM like GPT-4 in a way that align with a particular role or function. These prompts are used to guide the model response to fit the needs of the expectation of a specific context, professions or scenarios. Okay. Now, even if RSP is there, RSP again divided into different uh, parts. But why we use RSP? Because it is customized in context. Okay. Because role specific is useful for particularly for the professional uses, because in profession, all the professions are divided and each profession has their own rules. If you go to a company, you can find there are somebody is there for HR, human resources, somebody is engineer, code developer, somebody is in marketing, sales, somebody is in pre-sales. So everybody has their own role, and based on their role, they do their job. And this can be done through a Gen AI by doing the customization of their context. The prompt are customized to fit the context of the role. For instance, a prompt for a customer service representative might focus on the handling customer complaints. Okay, so people are saying that in some days, in next 5 years, all the call center will be shut down. Why? Because the generative AI is so advanced right now. In next 5 years, if somebody will call to the customer services, the prompt can pick that call, do a role of a, you can say representative, and reply back your answer. Okay, so mostly it's a computer who is replying, but you feel that it's a human who is sitting behind. Okay, then it is so advanced in nature. Currently, it is doing that, like chatbots are there, auto email generators are there. There are machines which can respond you back, but it is not yet mature. Okay, still there are issues which human has to handle or intervene. But going forward, when they are getting trained every time, it is more mature, more mature. So in next 5 years, you can call to any customer care. There will not be any humans. There will be machines which will respond you back because it is playing the role of a representative. Okay. It also enhanced the relevance of providing a specific role. So in Japan, what happened? The human population is getting decreased, so they are using robots in their hotels, and they are giving different roles to different robots. One robot will cook, one robot will serve, one robot will collect the money. That means it enhancing the relevance of the Gen AI, improving the accuracy. As machines are there, obviously the error perspective is very less or very high, but mostly we expect the accuracy. Okay, and as they are accurate in doing this stuff, like let it tomorrow you brought a what we call robot and ask them to do agriculture. You put them in your field, ask them to, okay, do whatever you want to do in the field. Okay, put some water in the plants. It will do without stopping. Okay, it will not take leaps. Okay, it will not ask that, okay, I'm sorry, I cannot do that. That emotional bindings are not there. Okay, and also it improve the accuracy because whatever you do, you just train them, it will do very similar to that. Examples, as I mentioned, customer services, technical support, marketing, application of various domain like legal assistant, medical assistant, all these areas are using this advanced prompting of role play and specific prompting. Okay. Then the next prompt engineering, which is very popular, we call that chain of thoughts. In chain of thoughts, we divide the task into small chunks. Okay. So let's see what is COT, or chain of thoughts. Chain of thoughts prompting is a technique used to improve the reasoning and decision-making ability of AI models like GPT-4 by encouraging them to generate immediate steps that lead to final answer. This approach helps the model break down complex problems into simpler, manageable parts, improving the accuracy and interpretability. Here are some details example, like it also improved the accuracy, enhanced the interpret interpretability, better learning, and scalable approach. Scalable approach and better learning are the new keywords for COT. Now, in this, what happened? You can enhance your knowledge. But all this chain of thoughts, whatever we are telling, it also link to multiple other chains. Okay, like chain of verification. With chain of thoughts, you can add chain of verification, chain of knowledge-driven thoughts, interleaving retrieval chain of thoughts, chain of nodes, like whatever you note for each subsequent questions, you can put that and ask to the model, chain of knowledge. If you have more knowledge, you can produce a good chain of thought prompting, chain of explanation, and chain of empathy. Chain of empathy means emotional part. Similarly, in large language model, you have to explain them what should be the tree of thoughts for LLM, least to most prompting, like what should be the small answer, what should be the biggest answer. So those promptings are involved in COT. So mostly it is used in mathematical problem solving. Like if you understand this, there is an example here. A train is travel at 60 miles per hour for 2 hours. How far does it travel? Now, chain of thought prompting will be like this. First, identify the speed of the train. It's 60 miles. Second, determine the duration of travel, 2 hours. Now, calculate the distance using the formula. Then multiply 60 miles per hour. So what you did, you divide the problems into multiple segments and you will get the answer immediately. So this is one of the examples which is very small in nature. But if you consider a big problem statement, if you divide it into small chunks, you can easily get the answer. If you put the whole question, the LLM model will be difficult to identify. Then scientific reasoning. Explain the process of photosynthesis. So definitely it will again divide into small chunks. So it will involve, okay, photosynthesis like involves sunlight, water, carbon dioxide, chlorophyll. So next, describe how plants absorb sunlight through chlorophyll in their leaves. So leaves have a particular substance and it gets the sunlight, it gets the water, and finally it can generate the oxygen and glucose, which we call this photosynthesis. So very simple, but you have to be understand. Similarly, for historical analysis, you can use the chain of thoughts. For research also, you can use the chain of thoughts. What are the main causes of American Civil War? You can get the answer. Now, what are the real use of COT? The real use of COT right now is happening in education and tutoring. Okay, people who are doing like you can say um, explaining the peoples or the students, they use this chain of thoughts in smart smart schools. In some days you can find the teachers will not explaining it, it is the machine which is explaining, the teacher is just there for observation. Okay, and the student can ask the questions and based on that questions the model will answer them what exactly, because for a student, like for a school level, the data is very less. It is why less? It is based on the particular syllabus. It's based on particular books. So you think a model which is using more than 1.432 trillion parameters to filter out the data, like if the whole library of two universities, or you can consider all the universities in Odisha, if you put all the data, it is still not making 1 trillion uh, data or 1 trillion, what we call gigabyte or terabyte data. Okay. So that means education and tutoring will move slowly towards generative AI, legal reasoning, medical diagnosis, programming and debugging, creative writing. All this stuff is moving towards the chain of thought prompting, and it will take off slowly. Next process is zero sorting learning. So zero sort learning is a machine learning technique where a model can make predictions or perform tasks without having been explicitly trained. So explicitly trained means if you can recollect the machine learning, if you can find the three type of learning: supervised learning, unsupervised learning, reinforcement learning. And in between supervised and unsupervised, there is a semi-supervised learning. So if you don't have data, still it is generating the output. We call that zero sorting. Like I mentioned, 4 plus 4, it will give you 8. It know what is the algorithm, how to get the output. And this kind of a model, instead of learning from direct experience, the model leverage knowledge from the related task or uses auxiliary information to generalize to new unseen tasks or examples. Here are key points like generalization, like mathematical model, generalized. Auxiliary information often rely on the additional information such as semantic description, attributes, or relationship between known and unknown categories. Transfer learning mostly utilize knowledge for a source of domain task to perform a target domain task without direct examples or tasks. So that means it don't need any example, it don't need any target audience. It is just whatever the instructions given. Based on that, it gets some auxiliary information from its own learning, and by using the generalized models, it will give you the output. So that is how the zero sorting works. But there is another concept where we train the model with some limited data. We call that flew sorting. So flew sorting learning, on the other hand, involves training a model on a very limited amount of data or few new tasks or categories. Unlike zero sort learning, flew sort learning does require exposure to the new categories during the training. But only a few examples are available. The challenges here is for the model to generalize well from only a few examples. So whatever the few examples you give, based on that, it will give you the output. But sometimes it happens that it will create the breakdown. Okay. Now, what is the key difference between previous models and this model? The key model, it need less data. Data requirement is less. Approach and complexity, it is less complex. And the best is, it is application scenario based. Like if you are a banking staff, you need the details related to the banks, and you train the model, whatever a banking staff is doing, so it will give you the answer based on that. If you are a teacher, like a science teacher, you train the model for the science question answers, so it will develop that. So that's how it is good. But still, there are differences between few setting, zero sorting and few sorting. And these differences based on, like, you can see when we do these kind of processes, we have to consider these parameters, like whether it is a multilingual translation is happening or not, like if you are converting Hindi to Odia or Odia to English. So in that case, you have to understand it is using this kind of stuff. Now, when you are converting that, you need to understand the sentiment analysis, because each language has their own structures. So sentiment analysis is also required. If you are giving less train, or there is a zero sorting, like zero sorting, you know, a particular word, like let's call the a particular word of any vegetable. Okay. So that same vegetable name is different in Hindi, in Odia, in English. Okay, let's consider there is a vegetable called bhindi. Bhindi in Hindi. Okay. So if you ask in English, some people say okra. Now, okra is very popular word in European side. But if you go to into US or British, they'll ask lady's finger. And that means you are understanding what exactly is it a vegetable, is a lady's finger, is a part of a body. Now that sentiment analysis you need to understand, otherwise the meaning will be different. So zero sorting has that issue, but flu sorting will do the sentiment analysis, give you the exact output. Similarly, text summarization. Text summarization, easy task for a zero sorting. You enter all the text, ask to summarize them. But when you do the text classification, you have to train the model. Why? You have to say that, okay, if something is like related to the sports, put into sports. Now, what are the related to sports? You have to put some keywords. Cricket, football, batting, bowling, goals. Now it has to put that into sports category. Okay. Text completion also in zero sorting, whereas particular naming or entity recognition is into few sorting. Generative question and answers. Direct question, direct answer, few sorting. But customized, particular to your office, particular to your domain, you need few sorting. Now, this zero sorting and few sorting learning approaches are very popular and popular these days. Why? Because it is using whatever the machine learning system, it exactly diagnoses the domain, the content. So that's how it is popular, and it need less size of data. So that's how also it is popular, because more data means more expense, more investment. Okay, so flip sorting learning approaches train a common, like example applications are common diseases training, flip sort learning for rare diseases. Okay, so common diseases we can go with zero sorting, but rare diseases we have to go with flip sort, because we have to have trained the model. They mostly use this depth neural networks. We call that convolutional neural networks or CNN model for these flu sorting. Then we have another prompting method. We call that multi-turn diagnosis, dialogues. Okay, multi-turn dialogues is refer to the conversation where interaction involves more than one exchange between participant, and each response built on relates to a previous part of the conversation. This concept is prevalent in both humans conversation and artificial intelligence, especially in system of design, simulate and assist human interaction. Now, contextual dependency is there, definitely. Whoever is asking the question, he has to know exactly what exactly the goal. Based on that, it will be asked each time and develop the context to arrive to the destination. And the flow should be very important. Interaction flow should be there. Otherwise, the machine will be stopped there and move towards somewhere. And it should be very interactive in nature. At each interaction, there should be an open item, and then multi-turn dialogues will be there. And finally, whatever the data you have and coherence, you have to be very effectively use that. Let's take one example. Uh, Rasmi, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's do a demonstration of multi-turn dialogues. So I'll ask, uh, like you are the person who has to answer me, and I have to ask the questions. Okay.
Yes.
So Rashmi, what's your name?
Sir, my name is Rashmi Ranjan Behr.
Okay, you are Rashmi Ranjan Behra. Are you from India?
Yes, sir. I am from India, sir.
Which place of India?
Sir, from Odisha, Bhubaneswar city.
Okay, from the city Bhubaneswar. And I believe Bhubaneswar is the capital of Odisha, right?
Yes, sir. Bhubaneswar is capital of Odisha.
And in Bhubaneswar, most of the houses are like individual houses or apartment. Are you staying in an apartment or individual house?
No, sir. I have an individual house, sir.
And do you have any number for your house?
Yes, sir. 391 by 468.
And are you staying alone or somebody else are staying with you?
No, sir. Including me, there are my family members, sir.
Okay, thanks, Rasmi. So what happened here? I'm trying to
Thank you,
get
sir.
his address. I'm trying to understand how secure that house is. And I'm able to get that. Okay, I know where he is living. And based on this multi-turn dialog process, I can analyze his security conditions. Okay, so this is how the communication happen. Each time I am going forward one step. That is one of the examples. There are many examples, like you can give the chart for different questions each time and getting the answers. Okay.
So hope you enjoyed our today's sessions. If you like this video, then do like, share and subscribe our channel.